Lesson 95, volume of a right solid. So a right solid is just a 3D shape whose sides are perpendicular to the base. So, if you look at some of these solids, like this cylinder, the side is perpendicular to the base. It would make a 90-degree angle inside there. This one would be considered a right solid, a cube, because its side is perpendicular to the base. This one would not be considered, actually this is actually considered a 3D shape because the center is perpendicular to the base. So maybe saying whose sides are perpendicular isn't quite right. It's like the apex would have to be perpendicular to the base. I wonder if I have any that aren't. I don't. Think about a cylinder that's kind of shifted. Oh, have you guys ever played with the slinky?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so if you put it all together and then just kind of slide it over,
Oh, yeah.
that would not be a right solid. If you kind of lean it, or the leaning tower of pizza. Pizza. Okay. So to draw a rectangular prism, if you draw the front and then on the back you do kind of like a shadow area, so you start a little bit to the right, go over a little bit more down. Then when you connect the vertices, you have this rectangular, or prism, yeah, rectangular prism. So if this is the height, that's how tall it is. This is the length, and this is the width of the bottom. To find the volume, we would just do length times height times width. So this is length, height, whoops, I don't know how to spell height. Oh, is it just like that? Okay. And width. So you just multiply those three numbers together. So for example, we're going to draw a rectangular solid that has, it's a little bit longer than it is wide. Whoops, I drew it wrong. Okay, so to find the volume, we would do 5 inches times 4 inches times 3 inches, which is 20 times 3, or 60, and then we have inch times inch times inch, which is cubed, inches cubed. So the volume here is 60 inches cubed. Now if we just looked at the base, so I'm going to draw in a few of dotted lines to show, whoops, didn't quite go down far enough. I don't like it. Let's see. Okay. So if we just look at this base right here, the 4x5 rectangle, you can see that the area of that base is 20 inches squared. Now when we times it by 3, we get our volume. So what you can do for any right solid is take the area of the base and times it by the height. So if you are talking about a cylinder, here's an example of a cylinder. The area of the base would be the area of the circle, which you have to remember the formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared, and then you would times it by the height. And that way you'd find the volume of the whole cylinder. So we have if we have a really long this is called a rectangular prism. If the lengths were all the same, the length, the width, and the height, it would be called a cube. And then we have a triangular prism. Now, I feel like in your book, they're kind of tricky with triangular prisms. So they'll draw it like this and then ask you to find the area of the base and the height. But you have to remember that on a triangular prism, the base is the triangle. Okay, so this is called a right triangular prism. So this is key. On a prism, the bases are the two sides that match. Well, that match shape. So if you look at a triangular prism, the two sides that match are triangles, and that's why it's called a triangular prism. On a rectangular prism, actually they have three rectangles that match each other. A hexagonal prism, it's called hexagonal because the two bases match. They're two hexagons. Okay, so that's how you know how to name it. I'm going to turn the page. So on a cylinder, if you'll draw a cylinder, remember we draw kind of an oval down. So here, the top and bottom are the ones that match. So one of them is called the base. And since they match size, it doesn't matter which one you pick. You just pick one of them, and that's the base. So for all right solids, the volume equals the area of the base times the height. And the height is just the distance between the two bases. So if we do I want to do another triangular prism. These two are considered the bases. So this is the front side and it's the base. And then this distance between the two bases is called the height. So if you are finding the volume, you'd have to find the area of the triangle, which remember is base times height divided by 2. Then you would times it by that distance between the two. Okay, that's the end of the lesson.